this video, I'm just going to look at the films and TV things I saw over Christmas in January that are worth bringing up. You know, this is not going to be high depth or anything. A lot of them, because of the time of the year, you know, there's not much to say about some of them anyway, so I don't bother really going into detail about a lot of them. But there's stuff I wouldn't do videos on, the full videos, so this is what I'm doing. So start off with Creature Commandos, which was the James Gunn written new DC launch in animated form. It was fun. It was like 7 episodes, I think. It was just like half hour, 20 minutes, half hour, setting up these monsters who were used by the villains in DC to go do stuff for the American government. There's a plot going on, and it's all very enjoyable with fun characters. It's not going to blow your mind, but it's not really meant to. It's meant to just be a fun little, you know, introduction to this new universe. I could happily rewatch this. You know, it's just very enjoyable for what it was. So yeah, if you like some fun animation that's a bit silly, go see it. It's really enjoyable. The Holdovers is the Alexander Payne film from last year, which we never got till I don't know, March this year. Yeah, it was a Christmas-based film. We didn't get it till way after Christmas. Although, to be honest, in Britain it probably still was snowing and cold at that point. It's well done. It's enjoyable. It's nothing amazing. Like, I know people who are big Alexander Payne fans. I am not. I just like some of his films. Other films I think are a bit snarky, are a bit easy. Not quite as good as people say they are. But this one's enjoyable. Paul Giamatti kind of steals it as the lead character. He just like dominates the film. He was Oscar nominated. You know, it's an enjoyable film. It's nothing amazing. Some people are saying, "Oh, it's like now a Christmas classic." I'm thinking, I'm not sure it really is. I think it's just a small character piece set at Christmas. I think it works fine for what it is, but that's it. There's plenty of films. Not everyone has to be a masterpiece. I think it's 20 minutes too long, to be honest. There's some bits you think you could lose quite happily, and you'll be fine. Okay, the next one's The Last Starfighter, which I managed to rewatch, which is like, I'd seen it years ago, but I don't I've even seen it since the VHS days. That's how long ago it's been since I watched it. And it's exactly what I remember it being, which is, it's a fun film, but nothing amazing. You know, that's it. I mean, I saw The Monster Squad recently as well, which is also a film from the 80s, which held up really well and had good pacing. It was only 80 minutes. It delivered, get in and out. It was perfect. This one starts off well, has some good stuff in between, but also has some, you know, filler bits that don't quite work. And it's 20 minutes too long. It's not anything original. It's one of those ones that is good but not great. It's like you can see why it did okay but nothing great, but why it's a cult film, because it's a film you could put on in an afternoon and enjoy, but it's not going to blow your mind in any way. It's just like, it's a fun little filler movie. That's it. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. But if it had been 15-20 minutes shorter, it would have worked a lot better. You know, but it's still enjoyable. It's still it's very 80s effects, but that's fine. That's part of the charm. Coming off Hollywood Boulevard, but that's Joe Dante and Alan Arkush is their debut. It's really enjoyable. It's about an actress trying to make it in Hollywood. She's always a stunt driver as well. She starts off as a stunt driver, but she soon becomes like known, and it's really about it's about the cheap and nasty world of Hollywood filmmaking at the low budget level, made by people who were living in that time. So you have Paul Bartel as a really pretentious director. You've got various common people appearing. You've got Dick Miller as an agent who's dodgy as hell. There's all sorts of things going on in this film. It's really, I don't want to say much about it beyond you just go watch it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. There's lots of really good jokes in it. It's snarky about Hollywood, but in a fun way, within a kind of like, yeah, we know what it's like, but still making the films type of way. It's just enjoyable, and it is a kind of Mickey T.K. Roger Corman Productions even though he produced it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. But again, try not know that much about it. Just try and go into it blind. I'm trying to avoid saying that much about it to ruin, so as not to ruin some of the enjoyment. But you know Georgia Common films, you'll see some specific things they're taking the mickey out of from that era. Right, Smoking Causes Coughing, which is a Duplou film from France. It's a Mickey take of superhero films where the superheroes are all like the powers are all ridiculous and tied to smoking and all the rest of it, and which is just a Mickey take about the clean living of superheroes. But it's because it's French and they're all kind of grumpy and dysfunctional and not particularly brilliant at anything, and there's all the other stories are telling each other that tie into the main story. It's brilliant. It's really wonderful, but it defies description because it's Tiny Mickey and it's kind of like Hollywood Boulevard in a case of don't know too much about it before you go in, because my description of the superhero thing is covers the first 10 minutes before it goes in its own way and does some fun stuff. I just try to avoid explaining too much about it. Okay, and now we have They Came Together, which is Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler, in a film by David Wayne. David Wayne's directed a lot of Paul Rudd films. He does a lot of he did the Wet Hot American Summer. He's done a bunch of other ones. He does like very silly films with some realistic streak. This is one of his less successful films. It takes a mickey out of like romantic comedies. But the thing is, I just feel like it was one of those films. It's okay, but if they did a bit more work in the script, it could have been a lot better. It felt like they did shot an early version of the script that needed some more work. Like everything was kind of there, but they needed more jokes and more subtle little things. It was just like one of those things that's half there and half not. Like I liked some of his other films a lot more than this one. This one just felt like it's kind of there, but not really there. But I got it cheap, so I'm quite happy. I bought it for like £2 or something on streaming, so it's not a big deal. But it was just one of those ones that was like, I wish it was better, but it's still enjoyable, which is not quite as good as it should have been. You've got Kraven the Hunter now. Kraven the Hunter is the one I've got in my thumbnail for this video. It's a wonderfully stupid film. It's terrible, but so enjoyable. You know, it's like there's so much wrong with it. The director of it is a good director in a bad film, but it is fun because it's like all the actors know what film they're in. They're all aware they're in a ridiculous film, and they're all playing it up without winking at the audience, but they're all playing it up and being a bit more arch. You know, you've got Alexander Navallo in it as the Rhino, Aaron Taylor Johnson as the Kraven the Hunter, Russell Crowe as his father, and they all know exactly that they're in a cheesy film, but they know exactly to just amp up towards like we're in like a 30s B movie type of movie performance of we're playing a ridiculous character in a ridiculous situation and the plot doesn't make much sense, but we're gonna have some fun with this. You know, it's that thing. It's that kind of thing. If you like a certain kind of movie, you understand these actors are in the joke, and it's fine. It's probably beyond outside of the Venom movies. I think it's probably the most purely enjoyable of these Spider-Verse or Spider Universe movies like Spider-Man. Well, Morbius and Madam Web are enjoyably terrible. This one is enjoyably cheesy. Yeah, the plot doesn't make any sense. There's some ridiculous stuff in it, but it's still it's ridiculous. It actually makes it work quite a bit. Another ridiculous film is One More Shot, the Scott Adkins movie. It was a sequel to One Shot. I liked this one better than One Shot. One Shot felt like it had some good stuff in it, but it was limited to its location a little bit more. And it wasn't quite as ambitious. This one feels like it's more spread out over a airport that they've shut down, and for this one setup of going round. It's like a video game where you can round out a location and you're killing villains, and Scott Adkins is basically your your player character. You know, it does. I mean, it is completely stupid. I mean, the plot makes no sense, but it doesn't matter because once you're like, okay, this is dumb, just enjoy it for being a B movie. It's fine. It works well. The only disappointment is Michael J. White is one of the villains, and he turns up for like 10 minutes. You know, like if you have him in a film with Scott Adkins, you want him to be in for longer and have a big fight, and you have a kind of very mediocre fight at the end, which doesn't quite deliver. I don't know if they ran out of money or something, but it doesn't really deliver what you were hoping for. Especially since they obviously don't hate each other. It's like, it's a job. Yeah, it's a job. That's the thing is, like, the characters don't have any real, like, reason to hate each other. It should be on the both. One of them's got a job, and other one's try to stop people with that job. It's like, there is some villain reveals that are kind of obvious, but it kind of works for what it is. It's a silly B movie. Kind of like Kraven the Hunter in the sense of, yeah, there's no defense with some of the plotting, but that's part of its charm. Now we have Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Fowl. This is probably the best film in this list, you know, for me. The most successful. I mean, I like the Holdovers. I really liked Hollywood Boulevard and Smoking Clouds Coughing. But that's one I probably liked most, you know. But, you know, Hollywood Boulevard and Smoking Clouds Coughing are the two other ones I really liked in this group. This one is Wallace and Gromit back in form. The last short one they did after... They did a short, I think, after they did the movie with... in like 2005 or something. Then did a short one again, which wasn't as good as the other stuff they'd done. This is a return to form. Everything connects, everything works. It's short, like 80-90 minutes, so it doesn't have this stay is welcome. It just gets to the point of the jokes. The jokes all work. Everyone's charming. All the characters deliver. Wallace is oblivious as always. Gromit's trying to save him always. It just works. I'm not sure if I like this one or Curse the Were Rabbit more. I mean, Curse the Were Rabbit, when I first saw it, I thought it was good but not great. But I liked it a lot more in the rewatch. I've only seen this one once, so I'll find in the rewatch how I rate it compared to the other one. But I really enjoyed both of them. But it is a nice return to form after that last short one they did wasn't quite as good. But yeah, this one's really enjoyable though. I'd definitely recommend it. Now we have Mufasa. Mufasa is, you know, it's okay. that's it. Some people hate it, but it's done really well at the box office after a kind of soft opening. I can understand both actually. It does have a story, explain the story with the characters from Lion King, explain the past of Mufasa. And they're bringing in a lot of stuff from the first one to see how it happened before the first one happened and how this linked to that. There's a lot of prequel bait stuff that is very kind of obvious. But there's still bits to work. It's one of those films that feels half it works, half it needs reshot. And the half that works really well, and the half that needs reshot really needs reshot. And yet feeling the director wasn't really in charge. Barry Jenkins directed it. And there's some nice bits in it, but there's also some bits that are really frustrating. All the prequel bait and stuff. All the things that are so close to the original that it's like, you don't need to reference that. You need to do your own thing. It feels like studio notes, we have to reference this. But as the story of Mufasa, how he comes to the African plains where he becomes king, and how he slowly gets in... He separates from his parents, he ends up with Scar's family. He's treated like a inferior by that family, apart from the mother who trains him. This is where some people were complaining, oh, it's all women power because there's a she-boss, because the mother trains them and the men are all, you know, lazy. And when he meets his future wife, she's proactive and all the men are lazy. It's like, not really, it's just those two characters are the mother character and the girlfriend character, the two who are paying attention to what's going on. Not the other people are lazy because they've got it good. It's like who's observant, who's not. Like Mufasa is a male character and he's observant as well because he has to be. You know, so it's really about the characters who are observant, who are not. Is a big thing. and who are vengeful for their problems and who just get on with it. That's the kind of story. So there's a lot of politics that people brought into it from themselves that I could see why they were annoyed by it, but I was like, I think you're reading it a bit too much, this one. You know, it didn't feel that bad. I've seen films that feel much worse for the wokeness than this one. This one was just much more who's observant, who's not. And who's vengeful and who's not, because there's male and female villains in the film too, you know, and it's like, and it's about like how Scar becomes Scar as well, like how his fear is an infection from his father's laziness and also fear. It's like how that kind of, how a bad influence can destroy you and how a good influence can help you. That's really kind of what it is. Because if they made the mother the bad one, the father the good one, it would be, oh, you'd be misogynistic. It's like, you can't really win. One has to be a good parent, one has to be a bad parent. This time, the father was a bad parent, the mother was a good parent. But Mufasa's father was a good parent, and his mother was a good parent as well. But when we went to the other family, there was a one bad parent and one good parent. It's like, this is not complicated. This is just normal, what happens in life. But it's all political. The CGI is better in this one than was in the last one, in the sense of there's more character in the characters rather than the kind of flatness from the Lion King live action thing they did a few years ago. So I like this a lot better than that version of Lion King. I'm not a massive fan of the Disney 90s stuff. Like, Lion King's okay, but I much prefer Little Mermaid and Aladdin to Lion King, so I don't have the kind of obsession of some people watching this film has. Okay, next is Wicked, which was a big surprise for me because the trailers were awful. The trailers were terrible, and it was like, I do not want to see this film. Eventually I saw it, and it was really enjoyable. It's like, shockingly enjoyable. It's already available on streaming stuff. Shockingly quick. It's one of those ones where it just works. The casting works. It's Wizard of Oz from the side of the Wicked Witch of the West, and seeing the wizard as the villain, and it just works. The characters work. Like the Glinda, the good witch, is played by Ariana Grande, and she's like airhead in this one, who start to slowly get a soul as she goes on. And the Wicked Witch of the West is the one person who can see what's going wrong, and she becomes a Wicked Witch because she rebels against the tyranny of the authority figures led by the wizard. There's some songs, dance routines, it just works. It's one of those ones that, like, it should be terrible, but it just works. It's like, they had the right people. John True directed it, who did a bunch of films, some good, some bad. But he was the right guy for this one, because he seemed to understand what this film needed. He understood what the scenes needed. It's not the most visually amazing film in any way, but it's the actual, it has to be a bit tacky for this film to work. And it just works. That's it. So I'm looking forward to the second one because I liked the first one, and that surprised the hell out of me because I thought it was going to be awful. Now we have Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, which came and went and found, feeling about 3 seconds. It was like, we're releasing this weekend, now it's in streaming straight away because no one went, because everyone could see it was a let's retain the rights movie. Let's make a movie about this character, this event in Lord of the Rings, so we can keep the rights to Lord of the Rings. That's all it was. It's animated, it was cheap. They got a Japanese director to give it a different look. And it's okay. It's like, it's basically Two Towers remake, because it takes place in the Helm's Deep, and you find out why he got his name. You see Helm deal with all the problems, losing his sons in this battle. You see his daughter prove herself, which could be very wokey, but it's done okay. It's like, the character's enjoyable, so it doesn't matter. She's just someone who doesn't fit in rather than someone who's trying to prove herself all the time. She just naturally doesn't fit into that world, and that makes an interesting character in that situation. But the film's too much of a remake of Two Towers, and you're trying to remake the best Lord of the Rings film. it's like you're not going to do it. There's some nice things in it. I enjoyed it without thinking it was amazing. I'd easily rewatch it, but not very often. It's one of those films. It's okay. It's not great. It's not bad. It's okay compared to the Rings of Power. It's amazing, but compared to, but it's one of those ones that's like yeah, it's fine, but it's not helping Lord of the Rings much because it's not great the way they need a great film to keep this thing afloat, because the goodwill's starting to really go with this franchise now. People have seen too much bad stuff. Finally, we have The Wolfman, which has just come out and has just gone instantly. It bombed horribly. Like, no one's interested, which is a shame because there are some interesting things in it, but I can see why people didn't respond to it, because the suspense stuff doesn't work. It's taking the Wolfman, which is always a concept. You need to really have a great concept for a werewolf movie to work. Werewolves don't have the ease of like vampires. Vampires tend to work with not great execution. Well, werewolves need good execution to work. You need to execute it like Howling or American Werewolf in London or something like that. It has to really deliver. Otherwise, if you go off a little bit and miss, it's a big miss usually. And this one missed because they set up the metaphor right, where the Wolfman thing is a disease that goes in the mountains, and your lead character is affected by it, and he starts to turn into something else as he goes on. So it's not a supernatural thing. And he's now becoming a danger to his family, and there's another Wolfman out there, which is probably his father, who was also infected years ago. And that's good, but the suspense stuff isn't. And they set up this whole thing with father early on that you don't need in the film, because it basically means the first half of the film you seem to be tracking through the same stuff again and again and again, and it's like, if you just take the first 5 minutes of the film, first 10 minutes of the film, this flashback sequence, you'd have less knowledge of what's going on around his home, so you'd more suspense. When essentially you know it's the father, who's the Wolfman, who's affected his son, and you know it straight away, and it just causes all the tension. You realise that they're in his house, and it's like, but it's not really played up for any of that stuff. It's just like, who is he? And they never develop a clue. It also takes away early moments from character build where you get to know the lead characters. So you watch the film and you're meant to be with the female lead, who's the wife of their Wolfman character who's changing. But because you didn't really get to know her that well, and she wasn't very likeable when you saw her in the early sequences, you're not really with her that much. You don't really care that much. It's like, in horror, needs you to care if the character's surviving, and if it's someone you don't really particularly like, well, they can live or die for all you care. And that's a big thing. It's like they're relying on saving the child from the father, sort of like The Shining type of thing. But if you don't like the mother character who's defending the child, it's a problem. And they did not set up her character well at all. And they overcomplicated the Wolfman character to the point where you keep on getting the same stuff, and you're thinking, I know all this stuff, why tell me this again? And so it becomes this thing where the film's annoying its audience. And then the suspense sequences aren't that inventive, because they stay in a farmhouse setting for a long time before they go out to the woods, where it would be scary. And the woods are like 5 minutes at the end for the sequence, and it's like, that's, you basically, and then they go back to the location of the original thing where they first saw the wolf, and the flashback stuff, and that became like, or the prologue flashback, who cares? And it's like, well, you end up back at that same location. That seems very neat and not very interesting. So basically, they had lots of ideas, but they never worked out how to place them and make them work. It just feels like a film that they shot it before it was ready, and they didn't go through and say, this doesn't work, that doesn't work, we need to figure something out before we start shooting this thing. It just is that feeling of a film that wasn't ready to go. I mean, the performances are good. Christopher Abbott as the guy turning into the Wolfman is really good, but they're working with weak material, which is a shame, because Lee Winnell, who directed it, did the Upgrade, which was terrific. But this one is like an inferior version of Upgrade. So there we go. So I hope you enjoyed this little look back at what I saw. Some are good, some are not so good. But yeah, Wallace and Gromit, Hollywood Boulevard, and Smoking Causes Coffin were my favourites. And the surprise one was wicked. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope it gives you some things to go see. Bye.